And now I'm going to turn the mic over to Dr. Steve to introduce our speaker today.
Good
afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see you all. I didn't realize that I will give you a quiz. I have a 20-minute introduction that I have whittled down to about a minute on our speaker today, Jonathan Bowser. And so let me tell you, Jonathan Bowser is a managing partner with Integrated Development Partners, which he co-founded with some colleagues, and they've been doing a lot of work in our region. But prior to that, and where many of you may be familiar with Jonathan, is he was the CEO for the Cumberland County Economic Development Corporation for about 7 or so years. And when you drive down I-81, a lot of his handiwork can be seen with all the companies, all of the organizations that have come to Cumberland County, as you know, is the fastest growing county in the state, or it was when Jonathan was the CEO. Jonathan has a long background in development, and he also serves on many organizations in our community, very engaged and native of the area. Jonathan has been involved with Community First Foundation, planning commissions for Susquehanna Township with Dauphin County. He's president of the Broad Street Market. Probably his most important role is to serve as a board member and chairman of the finance committee of your favorite community college. Yes, that is probably what he is known for the most. And with that, I'd like to proudly introduce you to a man in this community who is changing the face of this community. He has a presentation that I think you will be enlightened by. So ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give it up for Jonathan Bowser.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
I think Steve kind of misspoke a little bit because he said that we weren't going to talk about hack today, but I asked him a little earlier, what should I talk about? And he told me to talk about hack. So I told him I needed a new slide deck because my slide decks didn't incorporate anything from hack. But thank you, Steve, for the introduction.
Your mom wrote it and gave it to me this morning.
I figured that to be the case. Sounded very familiar. But thank you again for the kind words and for the kind introduction, and of course for our friendship. I have a slide deck here that I'll get to in a moment, but what I wanted to do prior to kind of showing you a couple pretty pictures, which as developers we love to show pretty pictures, is just to kind of talk about what we're seeing in the marketplace. As Steve said earlier, our company's called Integrated Development Partners, myself and 2 others. We're all local guys. We got into this about 3.5, 4 years ago because we really wanted to see continued change, not only in Harrisburg, but the region. And we started to, in my previous role, I started to really start to see a shift that was happening in our community. I was born and raised here, went to school in Maryland, moved back. So I've been here most of my adult life and from the beginning. So we started to really start to sit back and we started to see, and I'm sure a lot of you in the room see the same thing, but we started to see an influx of people who were not from the area starting to come here. They were coming here due to healthcare or other employment opportunities. And the number one kind of question that we always heard outside of where's Trader Joe's or Whole Foods is, housing stock. A lot of them, are used to certain amenities, or used to certain things that we just didn't have here in Harrisburg at the time. And we started to see a lot of movement with a lot of people that are here in the room. I know Adam Porter does a lot of great work here in the city, and Brad Jones and others. But we started to see that movement, and we wanted to hop on that train, so to speak, and be part of the change that I think we all want to see, but we also know is happening. So, from our perspective, and I know a lot of you probably hear a lot about this, but interest rates are still really, really low. We sell a lot of single-family homes. A few single-family home communities I'll show you here. We also have a lot of multifamily as well. And it's interesting to see is that, I would say probably 7 out of 10 buyers and or renters are new to the area, which is pretty cool to see. And we've been tracking this now for the last 2 years. They're coming from as close as, New York, New Jersey, the DC area, especially with a lot of, working from home opportunities. We're seeing people who are, moving out of New York. We just sold 2 homes today from 2 couples that work out of New York at Athletica. They get to work from home 3 to 4 days a week. And so they bought a place in Hershey because they like Hershey Park. And then they'll catch the train from downtown to head to New York 1 day a week. And so we're starting to see a lot of that in a lot of our different communities, which is all really, really good to see. I think that's something that's really promising that we're continuing to see in the marketplace. And it was scary there for a while because, we've seen, even though interest rates were low, we were seeing our construction costs, skyrocketing by 30–40%, which again, I know a lot of you in the room know about. So that's been something that we've always had to kind of keep a pulse on. And then of course, there's just a supply chain issue. Not only in our industry, but, even as, you go to the grocery store, there's just certain things that just aren't on the shelves anymore just due to supply chain issues. And so those are some of the, things that kind of keep us up at night. If anything, it hasn't been from the lack of sales. Our sales have been great. Our biggest thing is, being able to turn over projects as soon as possible. What used to take us 3 or 4 months to build a townhome, it's now taking us 8 or 9 months. And so we're trying to, explain that to buyers. And sometimes that can be a very tough thing. Their buyers are emotional. They're usually their biggest asset is their home. And you're telling them that now they're 4 months delayed on moving into their home. So, we continue to work through those issues. We're not alone. It's a national, issue, it's a national trend. And we're doing everything we can do to kind of, push through, some of those things. Some of the things that we're starting to see that I think are pretty cool is you continue to see a lot of like adaptive reuse, especially in a lot of urban centers where you have old office buildings being converted over. I know, here in town, Harristown is in the midst of converting over a building. I think that's on Market Street, Market in front, I think, in the old Dauphin County building there. They're converting that over to some multifamily. I'll show you in our slide presentation, we have a couple buildings that we're converting over to multifamily that used to have a different use. One of the things that we're starting to see is that there is starting to be a lack of available land. Before, outside of the city and kind of lower Paxton and in the immediate West Shore, there was a lot of land. It was like the Wild Wild West. Well, it's not so much the case right now. So, there's a limited supply of land, which means is that, a lot of developers such as myself, a lot of opportunities for a lot of, reuse. I know in recent weeks, we've heard about Rite Aid and other companies that, are going to be relocating. And so, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with properties such as those, whether another office user comes in and takes them, and or if it's, opportunities to kind of get repurposed into something else. So exciting times for us, fun times for us. We see this area in central PA kind of being the bright spot in Pennsylvania. I mean, you always see growth in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh happening that will continue. But I think, as Keith said earlier, Cumberland County continues to be the fastest growing county, but you have Lebanon and Dauphin and Lancaster and York that are not that far behind it. So I think we all should be proud of the region that we're living in, because I think there's a lot of great opportunities for us, no matter what your line of work is. So with that being said, I'll just kind of go through a slide deck of some of the properties and projects that we're working on, and then I'll open it up for any questions that you may have. So this is the community that we're doing in Boiling Springs, right adjacent to Atellenbury Resort. One of my partners purchased the resort, I would say probably about 5 years ago now. And along with that transaction came, that wasn't me. Came about, I think it's about 60 acres here of land. So we got the property entitled, approved to do some single family homes. We're currently in phase 2 of this project. So we've sold probably about 40 homes to date, and we have another 12 that are currently under construction. The name of the community is the Porches at Atellenbury Resort. And so our theme there is farm style kind of home, which is very popular in the single family community right now. But what makes this kind of unique is, you know, you have wraparound porches. So probably on 2 to 3 sides of the home, you have a porch. A lot of people like it. Of course, that's where the name of the project came from. And it's been very well for us. This was our first project that we took on. A lot of people thought we were crazy because these homes are about 2,500 to 3,000 square feet. But we're selling them. I think we just sold one last week for 1.1 million for a 3,000 square foot home. Now, mind you, they put everything in there. They have elevators in there. They got floors being imported from I don't even know where. So they have a lot of high-end finishes. And so this community, you know, really kind of tested the market a little bit from our perspective as far as price per square foot. And so we continue to kind of press that. But a lot of that is, you know, buyers, cash buyers. A lot of them are actually the one that just settled on the $1.1 million home. They were out of Connecticut, sold a $3 million rancher and paid cash for this. So, you know, you're seeing, you know, a lot of people that are coming from Connecticut and New York that are selling these not big homes, but they're selling them for, you know, astronomical numbers, and then they're moving to Central PA and really kind of cashing in. So that's been pretty cool to see. This is a project that we're doing outside of Carlisle in South Middleton Township. It's a pretty cool project. It's about 60-something acres. And it's a community campus is what we're calling it. So we've worked with the township in South Middleton on a rezone to a kind of a zoning ordinance that only really fits this project. And the kind of the key that we wanted to really promote in this project was mixed housing, was really important for us. And so let me see if I could use the clicker here. So in the back here, we have 25 acres. And they're going to be 250 market rate apartments. And so we're selling this piece of the land to a developer out of Maryland that's going to develop that. The next one right here is we're talking to a group now that's going to do assisted living and memory care. So they're going to do 75 units right there. And one of the things I should notate is right here, you can't really see it, but right here to the north a little bit, is the Carlisle United Methodist Church. And it's a Methodist church where I think 4 churches in Carlisle came together and they quickly ran out of room. I think they have a couple thousand members. And so, you know, this is really the anchor to a lot of what's happening here, is because you have a beautiful new 60,000 square foot church. They have a full basketball court. They have baseball fields, soccer fields. So it's a pretty cool project that they have right here. So this plays a lot to it. And it was one of their things that really attracted our operator here, was knowing that there was a church right here with that kind of membership that they could really pull from. And in addition, the Carlisle market is really lacking assisted living and memory care as a service. Right here, moving forward, we have land about 5.5 acres here that we're going to sell to Safe Harbor. So if you're familiar with them, they provide emergency shelter services in the Carlisle market. One of the things they realized is that once people kind of work themselves out of, and it's for women and women with children who usually come from, you know, maybe abusive households or whatever the case may be. But after they go through kind of a 90 to 120 day process, a lot of times they end up unfortunately having to go back into the same environment. And so what Safe Harbor wanted to do, and they have partnered with several other kind of public entities, Cumberland County Housing Authority being one of them, is to have, I think it's up to about 50 to 55 units in here for more transitional housing. So this is housing that someone could stay in for 1 year up to maybe 10 or 15 years, whatever the case may be. But it's more transitional for those same women and children that still need housing after they get out of maybe the emergency program. And then we have 2 parcels here that are commercial parcels. And then we have 84 townhomes that will be a rental community. So pretty cool project. All different types of housing, a little bit of mixed use with commercial, and something that we're really looking forward to. We should be starting construction here in the next, well, probably by the end of the year, early next year. And the other kind of key component is a lot of open space. So it would be a dog park, nice walking trails, etc., which would be really cool. So we're really excited about that. This is a project that's newer for us. It's right here in town in Midtown. It's right on Green Street, the old Salvation Army headquarters. I think they moved out maybe 3-4 years ago, maybe. We were fortunate enough to be the winning bidder on the property. Our plans are to convert this over to 16 apartment units. So like I said earlier, you're seeing a lot of old buildings being kind of, converted over to another use. Really excited about this project. We've been embraced a lot by a lot of the neighbors in Midtown that really want to see this, vacant property get back into use. No one wants to kind of see, blighted properties in the neighborhood. So really excited about this. We should be starting interior demo. We're hoping in the next 30 to 45 days. It just got past the historic board in the last couple of weeks, so we're kind of excited about that. And we should have this ready to go for leasing probably next summer. So that's our goal for this project. So looking forward to that. Here's another redevelopment project that we're working on in Stilton. So I'm from the Stilton area, so this project was kind of near and dear to me personally. This was an old brownfield site. It used to be an old funeral home, old gas station, old blighted townhomes, commercial spaces. And over the last probably, I would say 10 to 15 years, the borough and the county had been acquiring parcels, demoing buildings as they were able to acquire. We got involved about 3 years ago. There was a couple buildings left that we had to demo, and so we did that. It was a brownfield site. So we took the property through Act 2 clearance and remediation, which then would allow us to allow for housing and other kind of uses at the site. So we're hoping to close that out probably sometime in the next 6 months. We started construction probably about a year ago. So we, have in all the parking. We had to do a considerable amount of work on Front Street with widening and putting in turn lanes and all that work. So all that's done. And Dollar General was the first building that kind of came out of the ground. They opened up in April of this year, and they're doing really, really well. One of the things that was very interesting on this project is Stilton is considered a food desert, just like a lot of areas are. However, hopefully we don't have any like Giant or any other grocery store operators in the room, but we took them all this deal, and they were all like, "You're nuts, you're crazy. We'll never do anything in Stilton. There's not enough demand. On one half, you got the river, and then you got the city to the north, and you got Harrisburg, Middletown to the south, and Sweater Township to I guess that'd be to the west or to the east. And there's no demand. And we were like, well, you could put like a mini store here. They were like, yeah, no, we're not doing it. And we were like, okay. So, Dollar General was like, no, we want it. This fits our profile. This Dollar General in the first 6 months of operation is their #1 store in the area. And they can't keep food on the shelves. They can't keep anything. And this is one of their bigger stores. Most of their stores are about 3,000, 4,000 square feet. This is close to 8,000. So it's almost double the size of most of the stores, and they can't keep food on the shelves. And so that just goes to show you a lot of our communities, I know this isn't an exception, but a lot of our communities that some of the grocery store folks, I don't know what numbers they look at or what analyst is working on it, that's punching in numbers, it just doesn't fit the box. But, sometimes you got to look outside of the box as developers, as we do, that maybe everything doesn't look right on paper, but, you can't hide the numbers and the numbers that we're able to do here. So that's pretty cool to see. Excuse me. Right here, we also have another building that's coming out of the ground, and that's Senior Life. So they're already in the city. I think that's on like, what street is that? 19th Street exit or somewhere around there, Paxton Street. And they just built the building like 4 or 5 years ago. They're out of Pittsburgh, and they provide almost like services to elderly that want to stay in home, that don't want to go to nursing homes. But so they'll come there Monday through Friday from like 8 to 5, and they'll, do all their medicine, healthcare, and physical training. Allows them to be able to just be around other people, etc. So it's a really cool concept that they have, and their current building was taken, I think, a year after they bought it, not even a year. They were told by PennDOT that they were going to take it through eminent domain. They're right up against 83 there. And so we were fortunate to be able to land them here at the site. We're really excited about it. It'll be, it's a really cool project. And I think they plan on opening sometime in November. Right here, we have slated to do 46 apartment units and about 5,000 square feet of first floor retail space. We have several small business anchors, a brewery, a coffee shop, an eatery that'll be moving into the first floor there. So we're really excited about that. And again, we hope to be able to start construction probably the next 30 days. And we expect this to be done summer of next year. So we're really excited about that one. The last project here is something that, hopefully I'll be able to announce here shortly. But it's a medical user that I think will do really well. Not that I think, I know will do really, really well. The services that they provide are much needed in this community especially. And so we're really excited about it, and we're hoping to be able to announce it. We're waiting on some state grant money before there's any kind of formal announcement, but any day now, we're hoping that, we could touch on that. And then the last part, which is pretty cool, is open space, but it's going to be a concert venue. So we've partnered with the borough, we've partnered with Club XL, that do a lot of outdoor concert series and even indoor concert series at their facility, just around the Cameron Street area, to have another outdoor venue in the region. So we're really excited about that. We received about $300,000 in state money. We received some money from the Dauphin County commissioners, gaming funds to go towards the park. And so it's something that we're super excited about, and I'll show you a little bit more later. So this is just the Dollar General site that's built and open. This is the Senior Life building. This is almost all done now. This picture was about a month ago. So a lot has been done since then. This is the apartment building that we'll be starting on. And so anybody who's familiar with Stilton and the rollers, that we tried to incorporate the rollers colors in there. It'll be a lot of still in the building. It's called the Still Work System, Still Town. So we try to incorporate what we can in the community and some of our projects. That is pretty cool. So we're getting geared up and excited for this project. And then the last piece again here is the park that I kind of talked about. What's really cool about it is, like I said earlier, I'm from Stilton. My family's from Stilton. My grandfather is 90. He'll be 92 in 2 weeks, and he's still kicking. He's Stilton native. He's still sits on the planning commission. Is part of every civic community group in Stilton, and is kind of known as the unofficial mayor of Stilton. So we surprised him about a month ago, and we called the park. We already had the name of the brickyard, but his name is Emil Powell, so we said the brickyard at Emil Powell Park. And so, we haven't broke ground. We plan on breaking ground probably early next year. But again, knowing that he's 92 and tomorrow's never promised, we were like, let's go ahead and honor him while he's still alive and while he's still in his right frame of mind. And so for the first time in my lifetime, I actually saw him like crack a tear, which was pretty cool to say, because he's not one to crack a tear. So that was pretty cool. The other thing he did in Dauphin County commissioners honored him was they actually named the day that we presented him with it, which I think was August 26th. They also named August 26th after him. So in Dauphin County is the Brickyard at Emerald Park Day. So that was pretty cool as well. So that was another piece of it that made that project pretty cool. But this is just a kind of a diagram of the soundstage that we're building. again, to really attract people to the outside. And what's cool about that, just before I leave Stilton, is that, you know, if you ride through Stilton, there's a lot of character. People are looking for a reason to kind of come back, and we feel like, you know, having a nice outdoor venue to have outdoor concerts, food trucks, I mean, you name it, is, you know, kind of, you know, what we're looking to do there. We're going to get my partner's in the railroad business, so we got an old rail car that we're going to set up, and it's going to be full of all local taps of beers. That's going to be really part of it and be really cool. So more to come on that, but we're really super excited about it. I'll kind of breeze through this one, but this is a project that we're working on in Hanover. I mean, in Hershey. There are 4 sale townhomes that we're working on. So it's a pretty cool project. We also partnered with Triple Crown Corporation and did a 39-unit apartment building, which has been up and operational for a few months. The key thing I really wanted to hit on here is just kind of go back to my earlier point about people coming in. So with the apartment building, we leased it up. It was leased up 2 months prior to opening, which is almost unheard of. And it was 30 out of the 39 units, 100% of them were leased up to nurses. And out of the 39, only 2 were local. Everyone else came from out of the area. So that goes to show you, you know, what we're starting to see in the marketplace as far as who's coming and why they're coming. Some of them were traveling nurses. They were here on like 1 or 2 year stints. Some of them were more permanent. Some of them were residents that are going through the med center. But yeah, that was pretty cool. 39, all of them med center. And you know, med center is just, you can't really see it, but it's like literally like right here. So we're right behind the med center. So it is a great location. These are just some of the pictures of the townhomes. These are higher end townhomes. They're, again, people thought we were crazy when we said we could sell them for 300,000. We're pushing 400,000. A lot of it just happened to be, you know, it's the Hershey market. I mean, we're running into appraiser issues every day. You can attest to that. I mean, appraisers just don't know how to appraise, you know, things in today's market. And, you know, for us to be pushing almost 400,000 is tough. I think prior to this, you know, you might have seen 250, 300 might have been a good number. So we're a lot higher than that. And a lot of it is just the upgrades and the finishes that people are putting into it, being very close to the med center. Again, a lot of them are doctors that work down there. And so they just want something that's convenient, that they don't have to take care of, that's kind of maintenance free. And so this, you know, this product has really been good. We use a lot of our designs. You know, we surveyed a lot of people from the outside. A lot of people like the whites, the blues, the black windows. So there's a theme in a lot of our projects that you'll see whites, blues, grays, black trim windows, just certain things that, you know, a lot of what we're seeing from people from the outside, what they're used to seeing in other areas that, you know, necessarily aren't here. So there's just some, you know, outdoor, I mean, interior kind of finishes here, some of the units that were sold. And I think this is the last project, but this is another one that we're working on. It's adaptive reuse down in Hanover, right in town there. It was the old Montgomery Ward's building. Sat vacant for about 10 years, was completely damaged, water damaged, roof was collapsing. I mean, it was in really, really, really bad shape when we bought it. We were able to get a state grant to help out with the project. Got a lot of support from the Economic Alliance down in New York. And we're converting it over to about 4,000 square feet of storefront space, commercial space, and then we have 16 luxury apartments as well. So this was pictures on from early on, but the building has a lot of character, a lot of brick that we're repurposing and reusing throughout.
IRS PIN number.
So we're really, really excited about
IRS
it.
PIN number.
We leased this one 2 weeks ago. I think
Why not one? And you know,
and we expect to have it fully leased by, if not this week, next week. So again, here in the Hanover market, it's a lot of Baltimore people coming up, Maryland people coming up. I think it's about 45 minutes to Baltimore, if I'm correct. So we're seeing anybody in that Gettysburg, Baltimore, Hagerstown, that kind of Frederick, kind of part of Maryland, and or people that are commuting up here to Harrisburg. But you know, seems to be a good stopping ground and a good middle point for a lot of people. So we're really excited about this. A lot of UPMC folks from their Hanover office. And so, you know, that's been where a lot of our rents have been coming from. There's a couple of units that we're actually going to just do a furnished unit, and we'll just lease them out month to month because there's a high demand for that with the UPMC folks down there. So this is the last project I know. This is a small project we're doing in Susquehanna Township, so it's not far from where I live on Langlestown Road. And this guy who, his name is Jim, but he does Inspired PT. So he does a lot of PT, really focusing on athletes. And so we're building him a building here, and you know, that'll be done here by the end of the year. So that kind of wraps. That's about 4,000 square feet. Yeah, and he has within there like a fitness area, rubber mats, and those kind of things. So what he's looking to do is pretty cool. But I was a little long-winded there, but I'll answer any questions that anyone may have.
We all read about the shortage of low-income housing, and yet you've had some wonderful partnership, public and private. Tell us about the challenge of doing anything in the lower income housing market.
Sure. So we've had that issue for 10 plus years. I think what's making it sometimes even worse now is construction costs, and the price of construction is going up. So it's, you know, you have to, for us, we don't do affordable housing, but we have some good affordable housing partners that know how to work the tax credit world and know how to get the necessary subsidies in place to be able to bridge the gap. Because, you know, whether you're doing a market rate or an affordable, a lot of times your costs of construction are the same. And so if I'm able to get $1,000 in rent or a market rate, but someone needs $600 a month to make it affordable, you know, you need that subsidy in there to kind of bridge that gap. And so, you know, I think, you know, you're starting to see a lot more emphasis on subsidies in the affordable housing space that then will allow affordable housing developers to be able to make the numbers work to be able to provide it. But it's an ongoing issue. It's only going to get worse, I think, in my opinion, until there's definitely more funding sources put into affordable housing.
Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you. Jonathan, thank you for the presentation. It makes us proud of what's going on in the region. The real quick question I have for you is, has Weiss or Giant or anybody recontacted you to talk about any space in Stilton?
They have not. They have not. And I know Giant in particular, I think they tried out this model in Philadelphia. I think it's where they were starting. It's going to like a smaller urban footprint kind of store. And we knew about that. So we tried to go and see if we could be on the front end of that. But unfortunately, they went to Philadelphia first. So you may see those at some point coming this way, but it's a matter of time, I guess. Yeah, we tried to talk to Carnes. They have I guess they're in Middletown. And yeah, downtown Middletown. And I think part of their concern was that it was still from their Middletown folks, because it's from their Middletown store, because a lot of people in the Stilton area go to Middletown, especially for meats. And so, yeah, that was their challenge. Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. Any other questions before we wrap up?
We have one from the Zoom call here.
Okay.
From Jillian Byerly. It's a two-part question. Is there much collaboration or discussion that occurs with the school districts when planning a new development? The newly built elementary and middle schools in the Cumberland Valley School District were over capacity immediately when they opened. And yet more and more family housing continues to be built in Hampton and Silver Spring townships, among others, putting incredible pressure on the school districts. So in addition, there seemed to be inadequate infrastructure to accommodate many of these developments. Do developers consider the existing infrastructure? Is upgrading the infrastructure part of the project, or is that responsibility passed to the townships?
Sure. I think those are both really good questions. On the question of communication with the school district, it really depends on that community. There should be a good communication between that municipality and the school district on what is zoned for residential and what does that horizon look like from a timing perspective. So when I was over in Cumberland County, one of the things that we did try to do is we tried to meet with the school districts on an annual basis and really try to educate them on, developments that were coming. So therefore, they had a heads up and they didn't have an issue like you've seen in CV and the Hampton and Silver Spring Township areas. So I think that's something that should happen, at least in my opinion, a little bit more on the governmental side, between the, municipality and the school district. And then, you have the economic development corporations that can kind of play a role in that. And that's usually what you should see. And, I'm familiar with, Cumberland Valley and what was happening there. And I know 5-6 years ago, we used to have a lot of conversations with them and their former superintendent on, what was coming down the pike. So that was the first question. The second question on infrastructure, as a developer, anytime I can use existing infrastructure, we would prefer that, because that's less cost. If you're in a more rural area or some parts of Silver Spring Township, to give you an example, where there is no infrastructure because it used to be a farm, what you're seeing now is that most developers are being required to pick up that tab to put in that infrastructure. Not only that, but some municipalities, like Silver Spring being one of them, they also have things what they call impact fees that we pay. So we're doing 2 communities now in Silver Spring Township, both are single family, where we're required to put in the infrastructure 100%. And then we also have to write a nice big fat check for rec fees and for impact fees to help, with their parks and recs, but then also with the impact of our community to make sure that reduces the cost to the taxpayers and to the township. So most municipalities are moving in that direction towards, either public-private partnerships. I know in Stilton, we had a lot of infrastructure work to do, so we took on a big piece. We have a grant to do some, and we paid for some. Or you see situations where the municipality says, it's your responsibility, developer, if you want to build this, you can do it, but you have to fit the bill for it. So, it all works into then our overall cost of development, and then of course, then the overall cost of how much we sell homes for, et cetera. So. Thank you. Any other questions? Well, thanks again. I appreciate you giving me a couple of minutes to come and talk, and I think